Aejaie Franciscus at San Jose City Hall Plaza for the Transform California kickoff rally. Newly minted Executive Director of the GLBT Historical Society, Terry Beswick, with Roberta Gonzales-Gregg. Bennett Marks looks at political decisions in his own history.
And welcome to our July 2016 edition of Outlook Video, your nationally recognized award-winning news magazine for LGBT communities. I'm Christine Hancock.
And I'm Tom Smith. On the very day we were all inspired to exercise our right to vote in the nationwide primary election, the city of San Jose celebrated LGBT pride with the raising of both the rainbow and transgender flags at City Hall. The event was hosted by Councilmember Pierluigi Oliverio and included Gabrielle Antolovich from the Billy DeFrank Center. To round out the event, the Silicon Valley Gay Men's Chorus sang the national anthem.
How very appropriate are the words of our national anthem, "Over the land of the free and the home of the brave," as flags symbolizing LGBT people flew proudly over the land where many brave souls fought and continue to fight for equal rights for all free people. While originally the authors of our founding documents may have meant men with property, slowly our nation and society have lowered the barriers to membership in the free, removing gender, race, and orientation.
In May, Aejaie Franciscus joined Kim Lawson to cover the Transform California kickoff rally held at the San Jose City Hall Plaza. The event marked the start of a multi-stop campaign throughout California, committed to making our state a place where all transgender people can feel safe and live free from discrimination. Aejaie was able to interview several of the speakers at the rally, and we'll bring you that coverage later in our program.
Roberta Gonzales-Gregg was in San Francisco to interview Terry Beswick, who began as Executive Director of the GLBT Historical Society in February of this year. They met at the new offices and archive center for the GLBT Historical Society, which collects, preserves, and interprets the history of GLBT people and the communities that support them. Founded in 1985, they are recognized internationally as a leader in the field of GLBT public history.
Gracing our show again this month, we'll welcome Bennett Marks back with another thought-provoking editorial commentary. With our nationwide primary election recently behind us, Bennett offers us some historical perspective from his personal experiences. So stay tuned. Now let's join Aejaie Franciscus at San Jose City Hall Plaza for the Transform California kickoff rally.
This is Aejaie Sellers for Outlook Video, and I'm here at San Jose City Hall, and we are here for a news conference on an event called Transform California. This coalition that's been brought together is about holding a statewide conversation about the transgender community and how to empower that community.
Conference. I think this moment, Californians and trans people, it's been a long time coming, right? And so we're so excited to be here. My name is Isa Noyola. I'm the director of programs at Transgender Law Center, and we are here today to say that trans people are a part of the community. We're a part of the fabric of what makes California amazing.
My name is Chris Hayashi. I'm the executive director of the Transgender Law Center. We are the largest organization in the country advancing the rights of trans and gender non-conforming people through litigation, policy advocacy, public education, and movement building. You know, 20 years ago today, when I began to transition to live as the man that I always knew myself to be, I never could imagine that we would be in this moment of visibility that we are today. This moment of visibility, as Issa mentioned, where, you know, earlier this week, the Department of Justice and the Department of Education took such clear stances to say that they would not allow transgender discrimination against transgender people to stand.
Tony, thank you for coming down and speaking today.
Thank you so much for having us.
And how is Equality California, I know you're a statewide organization that works on LGBT rights, and how does this work into your overall view of the needs for Californians?
So we are proud to partner with the Transgender Law Center to co-partner on this amazing project. It's a statewide public education campaign where we are going all around the state, launching with press conference and rallies to show that Californians are all united in a broad coalition to support our transgender community members all across the state, and really raising their voices to ensure that we are opposing discrimination of all sorts against our transgender brothers and sisters.
Fantastic. And do you think that this might result in some sort of legislation down the road? Because I know you guys do a lot of legislation.
No, this campaign is really a public education campaign. California has had really strong civil rights protections for years at this point, particularly for our transgender community members. But this campaign is to, move the needle on public education, because, we've had all these laws, but unfortunately, public acceptance hasn't really caught up, as shown with, violence and sometimes even death against our transgender community members. So this goal of this campaign is really to shift public opinions through public education in a variety of forms.
I'm here with Dexter, and Dexter was one of our presenters today. Thank you for presenting and telling us your story, Dexter. How did it feel to give this big presentation?
I felt great. I felt like I needed to say a lot of things I wanted people to hear, and a lot of messages toward LGBT youth that it's going to be okay, and it's going to get better. I know it's hard to believe, but it'll happen.
So we've just sat here through this press conference listening to Transform California and hearing from state organizations, congressional leaders, mothers, people who are transitioning or have transitioned themselves. What are your thoughts on the press conference?
I think it's really good to hear from elected leaders, from state and local organizations, to hear that there's support at all levels.
I thought it was good to hear from Mike Honda's daughter that it's not just about bathrooms, it's about family and inclusiveness and equality for the trans community.
Fantastic. And will you both be signing the pledge?
Yes.
Yes.
Fantastic. Thank you very much for coming to the press conference, listening, and giving us your thoughts. Thank you.
Hello world, it's Dax exclamation point, and I'm here in, wait, where am I? Oh, San Francisco, that's where I am, and you're watching Outlook Video. Ooh.
Founded in 1985, the GLBT Historical Society collects, preserves, and interprets the history of LGBT people and the community that support them. The museum, previously located on 18th Street in San Francisco, is now in its new location in the San Francisco Mid-Market neighborhood. To share this exciting news and more about the GLBT Historical Society, Outlook Video is at the new location with the Executive Director, Terry Beswick. Terry, thank you for allowing Outlook Video the opportunity to share this momentous news.
Thank you, Roberta, for having me.
Oh, terrific. Now then, we're in this new location, but you were saying earlier that it's still, there are still part of the society is at the other location.
Right, exactly, yeah. Thank you for clarifying that. We actually have two major programs of the Historical Society. One is the archives, which basically was the foundation and the heart and soul of the organization back in 1985, and that's where we are right now, which is the new location of the archives. We moved to a much larger space, which will allow us to bring in new collections.
Okay.
But we also have another program, which is much more the public face of the organization lately. It's been there for about 5, going on 6 years now, on 18th Street, right in the heart of the Castro neighborhood. And that's where we have our museum. And so we get about 15,000 visitors every year to the museum, coming from all around the world. And we have a wonderful display there of different elements of the LGBT communities. And so we really welcome people to come in there and check it out.
Now, shall that remain at that location? The museum itself will remain at that location, and this new location will simply be for archives?
That's correct, yes.
Ah, okay.
The archives are mainly used by researchers, documentarians, authors, students who come in and make appointments, and they spend time working with our archivists to assist them in finding the things that they need, the source materials that they can use to put together their publications.
And I was reading also that on your webpage that there have been over 200 authors who have indeed used this facility.
That's right.
For their publications, and also you said they're filmmakers, so they're documentarians as well?
That's true. Documentarians, as well as filmmakers who put together films like Milk.
Yes.
Was an important project that we assisted with, of course, and currently, or recently, we had the When We Rise series. It's an ABC miniseries that's going to be coming out next year. They were digging around in the archives to make sure that their shoots in San Francisco were historically accurate.
Having said that, the stories inclusive in the archives here, are they from all around the world or only the Bay Area?
So we have about 800 different collections here in the archives, contributed from organizations as well as individuals. And some of it is famous people like Harvey Milk, and some of it is just personal stories. We're very interested in people's letters, photographs from their personal lives, especially going back further in time. The collections go back over 100 years.
My. Wow.
So yeah, the experience of the LGBTQ communities is extremely diverse, and it goes back a long time.
Besides researchers, you also have other programs and also events. Do these occur at both locations?
Actually, most of our public programs happen at the museum.
Okay.
The museum is relatively small right now, although we're getting ready to launch a program to find and build a new museum that will be much larger. But the museum that we have right now in the Castro is where we have most of our public programs. And so we actually have 2 or 3 every week lately, it seems like, and they're really well attended. This last month we started a series about home movies and film clips that are in the archives, and so we have researchers that are taking footage that we have here, video footage, and putting it together to show in the museum space, and those have been really well attended. So for Pride Month we had Pride videos from the 70s, for example.
Terry, thank you so very much for joining us and sharing this really great information.
Thank you for having me.
Best of
Roberta.
wishes to you and your organization.
I appreciate it. Thanks.